He came home soaking wet that night, even though it hadn't rained, and his eyes didn't look human anymore. I still remember what happened to Uncle Yemi. He was a charming man, always the center of attention. But he had a weakness: he couldn't stay faithful to his wife, Auntie Busy. She was a patient woman, kind and hardworking, but Uncle Yemi's wandering eyes always got him into trouble. It started when strange things began happening after Uncle Yemi had an affair with a widow in the next village. Auntie Busy found out, but instead of yelling or leaving, she warned him to stop. "One day, you will mess with the wrong person," she said. Uncle Yemi laughed and brushed it off, saying, "Women love me too much to hurt me." What he didn't know was that someone else had been watching. One afternoon, while fishing by the sacred river, Omi-Ola, Uncle Yemi met a woman. She was unlike anyone he'd ever seen, tall, beautiful, and with hair that shimmered like sunlight on water. She introduced herself as Abeni. Her voice was soft, soothing, like the river itself. He didn't question her presence. Instead, he was drawn to her beauty, and they talked for hours. Abeni listened to him complain about his life and flattered him endlessly. By the end of the day, she handed him a glowing blue necklace. "A gift," she said with a smile. "Come visit me again, and I'll make all your dreams come true." Uncle Yemi didn't tell anyone about her, but he couldn't stop thinking about her. He began sneaking off to the river every few nights to see Abeni. Each time, she greeted him with her enchanting smile and sweet words. At first, they only talked, but soon, she began pulling him deeper into the water. "Don't you want to be free from all your troubles?" she asked. By now, Uncle Yemi was hooked. He stopped paying attention to Auntie Busy, who grew more suspicious by the day. One night, Abeni finally revealed her true intentions. She stood waist-deep in the river, her eyes glowing like fireflies. "You're mine now, Yemi," she said. "I know what you've done, how you betray the ones who love you. You've played with too many hearts, but now you belong to me forever." Uncle Yemi hesitated, but Abeni's voice grew sweeter, more persuasive. "No one else can love you like I can. Come into the water, and I'll give you everything you desire." He didn't resist. He walked into the river as if in a trance. When he came home that night, he was soaked to the bone, and his face looked pale and hollow. His eyes glinted unnaturally, and there was a faint, glowing mark on his neck that hadn't been there before. Over the next few days, Uncle Yemi became more distant. He stopped eating and barely spoke. Auntie Busy begged him to see a priest, but he refused. One night, she followed him to the river, desperate to know what was going on. She saw him standing in the water, talking to Abeni. Abeni turned to Auntie Busy, her face shifting into something monstrous, her teeth sharp, her eyes glowing brighter. "You can't have him," she hissed. "He's mine now." Auntie Busy ran back to the village and gathered the elders. They performed a cleansing ritual and tried to break the hold Abeni had on him, but it was too late. Uncle Yemi went to the river one last time. This time, he didn't return. The villagers found his body 3 days later, floating lifeless in the water. The glowing mark on his neck had spread across his chest, and his face was frozen in terror. The elders said Abeni, the water goddess, had taken him. She lured him in, knowing his unfaithful heart would be easy to claim. To this day, no one dares go near Omi-Ola at night. They say if you listen closely, you can still hear her singing, waiting for her next victim. And sometimes, when the moon is full, you might see Uncle Yemi's shadow lingering on the riverbank, calling her name.